Hey everyone, what we're going to be doing this week is we're going to attempt to eat out of our pantry and refrigerator for the last 4 or 5 days of the week before we get paid at the end of the month. So usually by the end of the month, our freezer and pantry is looking kind of slim, and the way I did my meal prep for the last month, my menu, I left 4 days off of the list because it was 4 exact weeks, and there were 4 or 5 more days to the end of the month before we got to the 30th. So what do you do when you are out of money but you still have to feed your family? So we're going to take a look into my freezer, into my pantry and fridge, see what we have, and then we're going to come back with a menu, and then I'll show you the meals that we came up with, and you'll get to see a little bit of my family too. So I'm hoping that you like this video. It's different than some other videos that I've done, but I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, don't forget to subscribe and hit that thumbs up so that YouTube knows that you like what we're putting out. All right, guys, stay tuned for about 6 seconds. Welcome back, everybody. I am Wendy, and I am one half of your House of Five podcast. What we attempt to do with our videos is help families save more, spend less, and build wealth while they are on the journey to financial independence. We are a large family of 8. 7 of us are still in the house. My oldest has moved out and is living in another state, but we still have 5 kids in our home. My 18-year-old, my 10-year-old, 9-year-old, 7 and 6-year-old. I have to think about it every time. And they are all boys, and so they eat a lot. And so our food budget is one of those things that we really have to work hard to stay on top of. I hope that with these 4 meals or so that I'm showing you in this video, that you'll get some ideas and you'll get some thoughts on how to stretch your budget at the end of the month, because I know sometimes it can be tough, and sometimes we're just tempted to say, well, the heck with it, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get something to eat out, or I'm going to go to the grocery store, when if we really take a hard look at our pantry, we probably have some things in there that we can create something yummy and delicious that our families will love without spending a dime. Let's get started. Okay, so my coleslaw recipe is super simple. Just put the coleslaw in the bowl, about a cup of mayonnaise, and I'm just going to eyeball that because I make it all the time. I kind of know, but if you're gonna make this, I would say it's about a cup. And then about 3 tablespoons of vinegar. You can also just mix the mayonnaise and the spices and the vinegar separately in a bowl with whisk. I just mix it all together at once. Some black pepper. And then this is my secret ingredient. It's not a secret, is I do a little bit of celery salt. And then the final ingredient is just a tiny bit of white sugar. And then you just mix it all together until it is all combined. Now, I do not like coleslaw from anywhere else. Coleslaw is something I thought I hated growing up until a barbecue pulled pork recipe called for it, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give it a go. But I don't really care for mayonnaise, so I'm just not gonna do as much in there. And I think at the time I didn't have any other vinegar except for rice vinegar. So let me just give it a little bit of a taste test and just make sure it is right. Perfect. You can add a little bit more mayonnaise if you like yours a little bit more dressing in it. But this is how I'd like mine to look. And I actually think I need just a tad bit more pepper. I want to see the pepper. All right, there we go. That is that. And in a minute, I will show you the finished pulled pork. This pulled pork recipe is one I just kind of make by memory. A coworker gave it to me a long time ago. It's really just a pork roast with a can of beer, some beef broth, and some salt and pepper. Well, I don't really have beer in the house anymore, so I always just do the pork. Oh, and the best ingredient of all is a whole jar of pepperoncinis, liquid and all. So the pork, the pepperoncinis, I put in the better than bouillon, a scoop or two of the vegetable paste and some salt and pepper, and that's it. Let it roast up. When it's done, you just shred it up with the fork and it is good to go. And we put it on our roll, top it with a little mayonnaise, provolone. I'll put some coleslaw in there and it is going to be delicious. That is it for night one of our cleaning out the fridge meal. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is doing some meal prep today with some of the groceries that I had in my freezer. So this is the 3-pound pack of ground turkey. That is going to crock for a little while I go run an errand. And I'm going to be putting this chicken in the refrigerator to finish thawing, and I will be back in just a little bit. All right, guys, so here we are. We're at day 2 of our meals, and I have no makeup on, and I am in what I usually wear, which is a cami and leggings, because it has been a day. So we've had a full day of distance learning, of doctor's appointments, of getting on and doing a little bit of work, and I am exhausted. And so what I had originally planned to do for this meal was take a 3-pound bag of ground turkey, and I was going to divide that and add to each one a pack of the veggie crumbles that we have, because I really don't like the kind that the store substituted for us. I usually get the Gardein ones, which are the best by far. We've tried them all, but they subbed in this other brand and I really don't like it very much. So what I was going to do was add it to ground turkey and make 2 different dishes with it, a baked ziti and some chili. But because today was just one of those days, I'm changing that up. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do a creamy mac and shells, or a creamy mac and noodle, kind of like homemade hamburger helper. The kids love it. I can do it all in one pot. I can throw a salad together with it, and we're good to go. So what I did was I had the ground turkey in the crock all day, and it's cooked and crumbled. And so now, if you don't have dried minced onions in your pantry, this is my cheat. I don't like cutting onions, and so I put these in just about anything, and it helps with the flavor, and those should hydrate up really, really quickly. So we'll do that, and as you watch, I really don't measure. The recipe calls for a teaspoon of oregano and a teaspoon of basil, but I have this Italian mix, and I think I'm gonna end up just using all of it because yeah, that's all we have. And this is a clearing out the pantry video. So, all right, and here we have some dried garlic. I'll be pretty liberal with that, as well as some onion powder, not onion salt, onion powder. We like onion. And then, because we can never have too much garlic, I'm also gonna put in some minced garlic, and there we go. I'm pretty generous with that as well. Going to stir that up a little bit. I could have put this in earlier today, but honestly, I was gone and I didn't. So we're gonna break these up just a little bit more. All right, so here we're gonna go with the recipe and we're gonna get this started. Over here, I've got my water boiling, and because this is 3 pounds of turkey, I'm gonna do a box and 1 bag of little shells we had in there. I also use ground turkey whenever a recipe calls for beef, because beef does not agree with my husband's stomach. And so, yeah, we don't really eat beef, we eat ground turkey. And we're just gonna go ahead and go with the recipe. So it calls for a 1/4 cup of flour. And because I'm doubling it, I'm gonna put a little bit more. I'm not gonna put a full 1/2 cup. I think that would be too much. And I'm gonna go ahead and stir that up and get it all mixed in with the meat, so that later we don't have any big clumps of flour in there. Are you guys distance learning too? Like, how are you guys handling it? Because I'm not handling it very well. I think my anxiety has like gone up a bazillion%, and I've thought often of maybe I should call my doctor and up my meds. But we'll see. Hopefully this won't last much longer, but we'll see. Okay, the recipe calls for some crushed red pepper. I'm not gonna put that in there. We have it, I just don't think it's necessary. And then 1 28-ounce can of tomato sauce. What I have is 2 15-ounce cans, and that just seems like a lot. We're just gonna go with this and see how it turns out. Okay, calls for beef broth. There's another thing I really don't use very often, but let me tell you, this better than bouillon stuff is the bomb. I did say the bomb. I'm a child of the 80s and 90s, so. All right, but I usually buy the vegetable or the chicken. I just don't buy it, and I'm pretty generous with it too, because it is just so darn good. I'm not gonna put any salt in this. The recipe calls for it, but this is pretty salty, so I'm just not gonna use that. I don't think I need it. All right, what is left? Oh, because it called for beef broth and I put in some of the bouillon, I'm gonna add some water. We'll just do a can here, and we're gonna stir that up. One of the other reasons why we're gonna just go ahead and do 3 pounds of ground turkey is that I'm feeding 5 boys and 1 pretty big husband, and if I don't double recipes and don't double the meat, we just run out of food. So everything I cook, I pretty much double the protein on it. All right, while I'm waiting on the pasta, I went ahead and I got the lettuce ready, and now I'm gonna add some tomatoes. I wish we had some cucumber, but I checked the one that was in there and it was not good. So tomatoes it is. I hate when we let vegetables and fruit go bad. So one of the things I want to try to do better is, you know, either using it, right? And if it's possible to freeze it, because I just hate waste. Go, yes, here Isaiah, go put this on the table. on the table too. So our noodles are done, and I have poured them into the meat mixture into the noodle pot after they've been drained. And what we're gonna do now is it calls for, I believe, a cup of whole cream, and I know I don't have that much. So we're gonna see how it looks with what we have, which it looks like it's only gonna be maybe a little less than half a cup. If we need more liquid, I'll put in some unsweetened, unflavored almond milk, because that is all that we have. So I'm gonna go ahead and stir it. Actually looks fine, and it looks like it has quite a bit of liquid in there. So again, since we're cleaning out our pantry, I didn't have everything it asked for. It asked for 2 cups of grated sharp cheddar, and I don't have that. I've got Colby Jack. So it actually looks pretty good. Now we'll give it a taste test and make sure. It's good. For some reason, it's not very hot though. So I think I'm gonna put it on the stove for just a couple of minutes. All right, well that gets hot and the cheese melts a little bit more. I've had the kids set the table and we're ready to eat dinner. Okie doke, so now we're gonna prep meal 3, and this will actually be tonight's dinner. Everything here is either from my freezer or my pantry, so we're not buying anything new. We've got the pack of chicken thighs, some diced green chilies, some green enchilada sauce, and then all my favorite spices: onion powder, garlic powder, oregano, paprika, chili powder, salt. Also gonna put some pepper in there, and then some of those dehydrated onions. After it's all ready, I'm going to make a casserole layering the tostada shells with whatever cheese we have on there. I think we only have mozzarella now that we're all out of just about everything. So I normally would use like Jack or a Colby Jack mix, but we don't have that. We used that all last night. So I'm going to put this in the crock, and we're going to set it for the day, and we'll come back later when we prepare it. All right, so I got all of the meat in there as well as all of the spices. I had a little bit of an accident with the onion powder and the cap fell off. Has that ever happened to you? Well, I got out as much of the extra as I could, but it looks like we're gonna have some really oniony chicken meat. We'll see. Well, hopefully we'll cross our fingers and it'll still be okay. So we're gonna set that on low and let that sit all day and do its work for us. And we'll be back when we are ready to layer it into a casserole. All right, everyone, we have made it to the end of the month. Today is the 30th and it is payday, but we are gonna do one more meal out of our cleaning out of the pantry and the freezer. But we are lucky today because my niece is going to be having dinner with us, and she brought this yummy, delicious salmon. But this will not feed our family of 8, and so remember in my freezer I had those 6 small fillets that wouldn't be a full meal. Well, we're going to use those as well. Those are in the sink in some hot water thawing, and so what we're going to do is we're going to take some jasmine rice out of the pantry, and we're going to make some fragrant rice, as well as I've already chopped up broccoli into really small bits. That was about ready to go bad, and so we're going to use it and not let it spoil. And then we had 2 more packs of salad in the refrigerator as well that needed to be used. So I am going to get this all ready and prepared, and we will see you back at the dinner table.
That was your question? What's your question, Isabel?
No, I didn't have a question. I was just gonna tell you that I know exactly why there's always add-ons to your questions, because when you ask a question, it's like a brilliant question. That's just it. It's a brilliant question.
You are brilliant.
Well, thank you. So today,
Thank you, sir.
I'm being so overwhelmed with my brilliance yet again. My bad.
Add some more rice and some chicken, please.
Sure.
How much is that rice?
Chicken, I just see. One of these then.
Arroz.
You didn't have any vegetable.
Thank
Okay.
you. I know.
Eat your food, Jake.
¿Cómo se dice rice en español?
Ooh.
Rico.
¿Cómo se dice?
You know-
Isaiah, can you say en español?
Do you know it?
Escúchame. ¿Cómo se dice rice en español? ¿Cómo se dice chicken en español?
Hey, Isaiah, can you say en español? Yeah.
¿Cómo se dice?
You know it.
Boiled chicken.
Pollo.
Sí,
Right.
bien.
So, have you heard of rice and chicken?
Yeah.
Rice and chicken? ¿Cómo se dice? Blank con pollo. ¿Cómo se dice? What's rice?
Why are you looking at mommy?
Mm-hmm.
You're the one who told me.
Well, say it.
Want me to give it to you?
Say it. What did she say?
Arroz. Arroz.
Arroz
Con pollo.
Mm.
Arroz con pollo.
Arroz con pollo.
Muy
Lay
bien.
down. Down.
Muy bien.
More rice?
Can you say en español though?
Yeah, you didn't give me enough.
Can you ask some more rice and fish, please?
All right, guys, well, that is going to be a wrap for this week. I hope that you enjoyed this process, seeing some of what it takes to manage this household, how we make our budget stretch at the end of the month. And if you did find value, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button, not this. And we'll see you back here next week. Thanks. Bye.